Fireworks have always been a part of Disneyland from the very beginning, although the fireworks didn't always look like they do now. Yes, there's nothing quite like the fireworks at Disneyland, and that's why I want to make sure you know everything there is to know, so you can experience Disneyland's fireworks in a way that will make your heart happy. So let's get started.
It's been said that as long as there is imagination left in the world, Disneyland will never be complete.
Let's start by tackling the top questions I get asked the most, and I'm also going to be giving some of my favorite tips and secrets throughout this video as well. The first question is an important one. When are the fireworks? Unfortunately, the fireworks shows are not a guaranteed show at the end of every night. Summertime is pretty much the only time in the year you get fireworks shows every night, as long as it's not super windy or any other weather situations that may cancel the show unexpectedly. When it's not the summer, you can plan on the fireworks entertaining guests on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays most weeks. Some really busy weeks will have more shows scheduled, like the week of Christmas and the last week of March or the first week of April for spring break. Also, holidays and special events will often bring fireworks on weekdays. If you are at Disneyland on a fireworks night, usually they will start around 9:30 p.m., but that can always be subject to change. So the best thing to do is to go to Disneyland's website if you want to check ahead of time. On there, you can pull up the daily event schedule, choose your day and park, then scroll down to the fireworks and nighttime entertainment section, and you'll see what is scheduled for that day. Now, if it says projections at the end of the show's title, that means there will not be fireworks that night, but they will do the sound and projections from the show instead, which can also be fun to see. Only if it says with fireworks at the end of the title will there be fireworks that night, so really pay attention to that detail. Then on the day you are actually at the park, it doesn't hurt to double check the Disneyland app and check the show times for that day to make sure you have the most up-to-date info so you don't miss out on anything. The next question is, how long is the fireworks show? And they can vary, but any given show will last somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes, and they pack so much in those 10 to 15 minutes. We're talking music, projections, sometimes fire, sometimes things pop up from the buildings, and you may even get snowed on. But really quick before I move on, I just want to share some Disney entertainment etiquette that is always nice to keep in mind, since you will not be the only guest trying to enjoy these shows. Firstly, mind your cell phone. As someone who frequently records as much Disneyland as I can when I'm visiting with my family so I can keep the memories alive, but also so I can make these videos for you fine people, I understand wanting to hold that phone up high to get the best shot, but when you hold your phone up above your head, it blocks everyone's view behind you with a big bright square, and people prefer watching the show, not your screen. To be courteous towards others when filming or taking pictures, try to hold your phone in front of your face instead of above your head. The lights will be low, so make sure your flash is turned off. And I also like to turn down the brightness of my screen as well. Also, don't forget to lower any balloons you may have. And I know it can be difficult for kiddos to see these shows amongst all the crowds, so if you don't want to hold them on your hip and you want to put them on your shoulders instead, try to stand in a location where you won't be blocking the show for everyone behind you. Everyone deserves to see the show, and it's just nice to be nice. Being nice and courteous to others just makes the experience better. I've met and chatted with some really nice people while waiting in the crowds for these fireworks shows. Which brings me to the next big question. Here comes the big question, is it going to be crowded? And the short and simple answer is yes, but it is 100% organized chaos. Disney has this down. If it's your first time at the park, at first glance, the crowds for the fireworks shows and the evening entertainment looks very scary. But it's not as crazy as it looks. I myself am a person who does not like a crowded situation, so I have a few tips for these crowded situations, and I also have some areas that aren't quite as crowded as well, but I'll share those later. First off, get a snack. You'll want to find your spot for the fireworks at least 15 to 30 minutes before the show starts, if not sooner, and you'll want something to snack on while you wait. Trust me, being hungry in a crowd is a bad mix. Plus, focusing on a tasty treat will help keep your mind off the crowds. I'll tell you some of my favorite treats that I get in each of the viewing areas as we go throughout this video. Next, try to find a spot on the outer edges of whatever viewing area you're in. It's always better when you're not completely surrounded by people, so ask a nearby cast member about the viewing boundaries and then find a spot along the boundary line. Like if you're on Main Street, stand next to the sidewalk. Also, stay entertained and have a distraction. That's my mom dancing there, by the way. She's the best. Now, I try not to do video games with my kids at Disneyland, so sometimes while we're waiting for the show to start, we'll go through the pictures we took that day and recap anything fun or silly that happened. Many people will play little games with their groups. These kinds of distractions help pass the time and take your mind off of any crowds that may be happening around you. Lastly, at the end of the shows, I use a sit and wait technique, which simply means getting out of any main walking paths and just sitting and waiting while the crowds leave you as they leave the park and move on to their next destination. After about 3 to 5 minutes, you'll be able to move around a lot easier and without the majority of the crowds around you anymore. Trust me, less crowds come to those who are willing to wait. Next question, are the fireworks shows the same? And the answer is no. Disneyland has 4 main fireworks shows going on right now that they put on throughout the year, plus the Star Wars show in Galaxy's Edge. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. If you're visiting February through early August, you'll likely see Mickey's Mix Magic, which is like a big dance party, Disney style. Or you'll see Wondrous Journeys. This one is a more touching and sentimental trip through memory lane. Then come late August into early November, you'll get the Halloween Scream Show. This one is probably the most exciting and intense out of all of them and a personal favorite of mine.
This is Halloween.
And mid-November to early January will be the heartwarming classic, Believe in Holiday Magic, one that ends with sugar snow and a calming hush that always makes me choke up.
So come along, as the magic of the season leads the way. Cherish the holidays forever and always believe.
Now let's get into all the viewing locations with the positives and the negatives of each location. And if you're still watching this video and if you've watched any of my other videos, I just personally want to thank you. I don't think a lot of people realize that it's just me who works on this channel. It's a creative outlet for me, but I am a very busy mom and wife and I have a job. So finding the time and the energy to create all these videos is not always the easiest. Everything you see and hear is all me. I don't have a team. I don't use AI. It's just me and my passion for Disneyland and helping out other people. So if you can do me a favor by giving this video a like or subscribing to my channel so the algorithm doesn't forget me and so I can reach more people and help them out as well. If you do so, I thank you so much. It really is appreciated. Okay, let's move on to locations. Let's start with the most popular location first, and that's going to be the castle. The viewing area for the castle is basically the area right in front of the castle and the area surrounding the Walt and Mickey statue, with the area right in front of the castle being the most coveted area, where people will start camping out and claiming spots hours before the show even starts. The upside to watching from this area is you get the best view of the castle and the projections. The downside is you can't quite see the full effect of the actual fireworks because the castle kind of blocks some of them due to the angle you're at. The area back a bit on the other side of the Walt and Mickey statue will give you a fuller view, but you want to try to be right in the middle of the area, otherwise the trees will kind of block your full view of the show. Both of these areas probably fill up the fastest out of any of the locations we're going to talk about. Pretty much all viewing areas for the fireworks are standing room only, but they also allow strollers, which can help when you have young children and can kind of help create a buffer of space. If you like the idea of sitting and snacking or eating and don't mind a partial view, you can always dine at the Plaza Inn for a late meal and outdoor dining that puts you right by the castle. But you do have a lot of bushes and trees, so you'll need to be smart about picking your table. Another upside is you'll also be out of the crowds and you're close to bathrooms. For a late night coffee or sweet, you can sit down at the Jolly Holiday and enjoy a raspberry macaron and a side view of the show. This is a popular dining location, so you'll need a little luck to get one of these tables. Or you can grab yourself a Mickey pretzel and a table next door at Refreshment Corner. Really, no matter where you find a spot in these areas, you'll be finishing your night in a very iconic way. Let's move on to the It's a Small World location. This location is especially popular during Christmas time due to the ride's holiday overlay and the projections they do on It's a Small World throughout the night. At this location, you'll see the show's projections on It's a Small World's outer facade with the fireworks over its shoulder. This viewing area has a lot of nooks and crannies where you can possibly even find somewhere to sit if you're savvy and lucky enough. Just double check for trees and structures that may block your view before you officially pick your spot. Now for a somewhat secret spot that's good for those who might be more sensitive to the intensity that a fireworks show may bring, and it's also away from the crowds. Tucked behind the Edelweiss snack stand is a little patio area that is very easy to just walk past and never even notice it. It's the remnants of the old motorboat cruise attraction, but that's probably information for another video. Anyway, if you can sneak down there ahead of time, you may be able to find a good little spot that's not so crazy. Now the view won't be perfect for seeing the projections, but it may be a trade-off worth making. Another spot you can catch the fireworks, but it will be without the projections, is in Fantasyland by the Dumbo ride. Most of the Fantasyland rides close down during fireworks, so it gets pretty dead back there, which means you can see fireworks without crowds. Sitting down at the Red Rose Tavern will sandwich you between the two spots that they set off the fireworks, but a little warning, it is up close and loud. I'd like to take a brief moment to thank all the technicians and firefighters that make these shows even possible, as well as safe. You're most definitely the unsung heroes of these shows, so thank you for what you do. The Rivers of America is another location you can see the fireworks from. If you head into Frontierland or New Orleans Square and along the Rivers of America, it will be right after Fantasmic if they're doing a Fantasmic show that day. You'll see the show's projections on water screens and a back view of the fireworks. This location is a less loud and in your face as the other two locations we've already talked about, and it's a great way to get two shows in just one location. Now, if you're already doing the Fantasmic dining package at the Riverbell Terrace, you can stay for the fireworks after, which makes it a pretty good deal if you ask me, since you're getting 2 shows for the price of 1. If you make a late-night dining reservation at Cafe Orleans, you can usually catch Fantasmic and fireworks for the price of your meal, while sitting and sipping on your mint juleps. This is one of my personal favorites to do. For a lot less money, you can sip mint juleps and eat beignets at the Tiana's Palace tables. It will just be a little bit tricky finding a table with a good view, but if you do find one, it's a good way to sit and enjoy these shows. Similar to Tiana's, Stage Door Cafe, found in Frontierland, has a few tables to sit at with a pretty good view as well for both Fantasmic and the fireworks. Okay, so let's talk about watching fireworks in Galaxy's Edge, also known as Star Wars Land to some people, because that's its own thing. Back in Galaxy's Edge, you'll find 2 locations where you can catch the Star Wars themed fireworks, Fire of the Rising Moons. If you're a Star Wars fan, you cannot beat this unique fireworks show. You can do this either in the area in front of the Millennium Falcon. You can also see it around the corner from the Millennium Falcon as well in that area. The only downside to this show is the viewing area is a little bit smaller than the other ones, but this can also make the show feel a little bit more intimate and authentic. Now, there's usually a dining experience connected to this show at Docking Bay 7. This requires reservations, which aren't too hard to snag. It will cost you around $90 a person for a prefixed meal that you can enjoy outside of Docking Bay 7 above the crowds, where you can see Shadows of a Memory, a Skywalker Saga projection show that shows above the Millennium Falcon before and after the fireworks, which is another fun show for those who love Star Wars. It's kind of like story time on steroids.
The story of a destiny fulfilled, a darkened curse, and a final redemption. The legend of a family, strong in the Force, entwined in a battle between the darkness and the light.
I have yet to try that dining package. It seems a little bit steep for me. I personally like making reservations at Oga's Cantina around 7 p.m. for fun drinks and snacks. Then I pop out for the Skywalker projection show, and then I stick around for the Fire of the Rising Moon's fireworks show. Then you sneak in a Chewie and Rey encounter, and you've got yourself an epic Star Wars style evening. It's also worth mentioning that even if you're in DCA, you can see Disneyland's fireworks. Just hang out by the hub of Buena Vista Street around 9:30 and you'll get a pretty good view of them. And finally, mine and my family's absolute favorite location to watch the fireworks, and that's Main Street, USA. Yes, it looks so crazy and crowded from far away, but it's not as crazy as it looks, I promise. On Main Street, you find yourself surrounded by projections on the buildings, but you also can see the castle and all of the fireworks. And it has the vibes of a fun street party. And again, if you need it to be less intense, you can watch from the area closest to the entrance of the park by the flagpole, where you can grab some popcorn or a churro and finish out your Disneyland day the right way.
Are they all gone? Is everybody gone?
Here's the last obligatory call for liking this video and sharing it with others. Thank you for watching and take care.